Welcome back to E04 Split Vendetta. Today we're going to be going into trading a little bit further. Perhaps into some illegal trading, as far as the game's concerned anyway. And probably some more money-making schemes as we actually get forward through the episode. So let's get started today and just give you a quick update what I've been doing. I've been flying around again, exploring. You can see up here I've explored Silent Witness 11 and 12. They're off Silent Witness 1. Why they couldn't be called 1 and 2, who knows. Anyway, those are the sectors I've explored up there. And not much else has changed as far as the map's concerned. I've got 18 billion linked to everywhere else now. Everything is pretty much the same, I think. Yeah, nothing to discuss there. So I've been looking at trade filters. And you remember, like at the end of last episode, we've got these Vulture Sentinels, which couldn't really do much. The pilots were terrible. The first thing I actually want to check and just test, really, is whether our commenter is correct or not. One of the commenters said, if you have more Tier 2 gear on your ships, there's more likely a chance that your pilots that you get assigned have higher skills. So why don't we try that? Again, it's a chance-based thing, so it could be entirely wrong, but well, let's give it a go anyway. So let's first of all, let's go and buy another mining ship. Yep, let's just go for a usual drill from the Argon. The Argon drills, as far as I know, are the best mining ships of the game. Were it not for me wanting to get a bit of reputation elsewhere, I would just go for mining of Argon drills. Regardless, let's just actually make sure I deselect stuff. So let's buy a ship, and let's just go for medium and a drill as before. One thing I did actually like is there is a checkbox up here that says rename ship using loadout name. So if you name your ship M000, for instance, let me just get rid of that one and this one, M000, it will have that in brackets after the actual name of the ship, which means you can then rename it to 001, 002 much easier than I did in the last playthrough. So I guess that's kind of useful. Let me just take that as my default loadout. So that's 480 grand. And there's bits and pieces. So let's just go through and upgrade the engines. So all around Mark II engines. This is going to be more expensive, I guess, but let's give it a go. Because obviously we're getting credits in here now, so we are perfectly fine. So Mark II shields, weapons. There is a mining drill Mark II, so we'll take that. The turrets, I've gone for pulse turrets rather than mining turrets, because you may as well have some kind of defense for these things. Mining turrets aren't going to be particularly helpful, and everything else is pretty much the same. Consumables we don't need. Crew, we could add some service crew in case they get damaged, I suppose. Yeah, they're not going to need marines. That's 850 grand, so that's quite a lot more. So why don't we just actually go ahead and do that? Shall we say this as a loadout? Maybe. Let's just save it as MT. MT000. Okay, as in test. Save that. And purchase it. Okay, so that's going to take its time. It may have to wait for some materials. But once that's done, we'll go and see if that actual pilot... Unless we can see it right now. No, we can't see anything about it right now. So we'll have to see how good that pilot is that we get assigned. That's that out of the way. I've also started these Vulture Sentinels that we bought in the last episode. I've started them trading. And trading by using trade filters. So we don't have any automated stuff yet, but we can actually spot a deal here and there. And I'm just going to show you quickly how to do that with your trade filters. So I'm going to get rid of all my trade filters, apart from Nvidium. Okay. And if I just zoom out now, you'll see this, if I zoom all the way out, shows me buy and sell prices throughout the entire universe. So as we've done before, if I just go here and press I, not that one, I on here, you'll see I've got a full storage of Nvidium, so I can just go and sell that as we've done in previous episodes. Let me just get rid of all that, so I've just got some more money coming in, which would be kind of handy. I would be interested to know if there is a back key. I don't know if there's a back key, and it'd be nice if I could press I and then go and sell, and then go back to the previous screen so I didn't have to go and keep clicking over here. That's one thing I really liked in X3. And that's a good point, actually. Does anyone actually want to see a playthrough of X3, whether it's Albion Prelude or Lit Cubes? I did some introductory episodes, but I wasn't sure whether people actually wanted to see them played a lot more in detail. Okay, so... you know, if people have any particular preference, do let me know. I could start up another series. Regardless, so both of those are going in, and we're just going to do the same thing here. Yep, all of these are filled kind of nicely. and I will get another load of Nevidium in. So let's just get that done. Yep, no more Nevidium. At some point, this demand is going to run out, or at least it did in prior playthroughs. If that's been fixed now, if something actually uses up Nevidium so that the demand comes back, again, let other people know in the comments. That'd be very useful because it's a very lucrative mining profit maker, really. At least certainly early game. So that's out of the way over there. So all of those mining ships are now done. What I also then did is buy 3 new drills with M0. So these are all terrible pilots. And you'll see one of them's in Argon Prime and trying to dock, and the other one's got this wait symbol. So these two have not got any orders yet. This one has. So if I press I to go to its orders, and you'll see, sorry, back into the crew, you'll see its piloting is 1.5. That started at 1, okay? So if I go into behavior, you'll see this is set to auto mine. Yeah, sector auto mine, but it's set to sector auto mine in Argon Prime. Now there's no Nevidium in Argon Prime, at least in my game. I'm not sure about in yours. Let me turn off the trade filters for a second. But there is ore, and there is also an ore refinery in there somewhere. I think that's the ore refinery somewhere. Yeah, there's the ore refinery. So it's just been for it and dropped off a load. It doesn't make me very much money, but it is a useful way of training the mining ships where, as long as they can have somewhere to sell and somewhere to mine in the same system, they're entirely automatic. So all we need to do is do the same thing for the other two, and then that will then let them get to work in Argon Prime and start training themselves. So I don't need to do that anymore. So press I, go to behavior, go to default behavior, sector auto mine, choose a system. I'll choose a where. It's going to be ore, and in Argon Prime, confirm, and that is fine. That will work. That's undocking, and we're just going to do the same thing for this one. So hold position, no. We want a sector auto mine for ore, and off you bop. Right, so that's all those deal with. I will probably rename these in the future. What I would like to do, and I don't think this still works. If anyone knows if it does work now, let me know. I would hope that you could organize these into fleets. And by fleets, I just mean, or wing, basically a group of craft that you could give the same instructions to and have them all obeyed. Like the sector automine stuff. I don't think that actually works. I think you still have to give instructions individually to the ships. Regardless, that's those training and getting started. And then where was I? So I'm over here in wherever I was. Silent Witness. Yes. So I then sent out and to do so. Oh, yeah, I was talking about trade filters, wasn't I? Let me do the trade filters first before I talk about Silent Witness. So trade filters. If you want to find the best goods to buy and sell, you can see I've got Nevidium here. It's not sold anywhere, so we can't actually do that for trading. So let me just get rid of Nevidium entirely for now. And now you'll see this bought and sell trades. It doesn't really show me anything specific there. I'm going to limit it. Okay, so I'm going to limit it to things like microchips, silicon wafers. I'm going to pick some just various random stuff. Things you can think about, food and stuff like that. So nostrop oil and well, wheat for argument's sake. Okay, so now I've got only a limited set of stuff. You can see I've got the two things appearing on both bought and sell, so that immediately means I can make a profit somewhere. Well, as long as this one is lower than this one, that is. So if we're going to do that, then all we're going to do is go and sort that out. So if I go over here, I can go and right-click here, and I can just go and buy a bunch of microchips, and you'll see its transaction value is minus 472,000, and then we just go immediately right-click and sell, and you see I made 136 grand profit doing that. Didn't do anything else whatsoever other than buying and selling like this. So this is easy to do and will make you some early profit. But of course, it's not automated. Later on, we'll be getting to automate it by setting them to auto trade. You can even do other things like you can create a station to hold lots of wares that you're making and then have them use the distribute wares command to just basically try and sell this wherever they possibly can, even at a loss. It just means that you get more, basically, money. Okay. Then I decided, well, let's go have a look in Silent Witness. Now, I happen to know that in Silent Witness, in my last game, so I wanted to check in this game, there happens to be a slightly dodgier setup, shall we say, and that being there is, in Silent Witness 12 for me, there is a few stations that sell space weed and that buy space weed because the pirates over here like to buy space weed. So if you, and there happens to be no police around, it's not a very heavy police sector, it's quite out of the way. You see space weed farms, SCA factory, and Maha Dust factory. Again, nothing really in this system other than these stations. So, well, we can just basically set them up to do that. So if I just go over here, fly to, okay, that's going to go over there, and I'm just going to go and make sure its behavior is set. Known stations in Silent Witness 12. Yes, please. Okay, so that's going to continually just fly around, do not much at all. However, then I can just go and add to my filters, space weed, and press OK. And we're zoomed in here, and you can see right now we can't see any sold stuff. I think that's just because I haven't visited that station in a little while. If I remember rightly, that should actually be buying the space weed. If it does, that's cool. If not, there is another one over here that buys space weed, so that's not a problem. So in any case, I'm going to tell this to manually go and buy a whole bunch. Okay, and that's 370,000 down the drain. And over here, I'm going to tell it to go and sell a bunch. But you see, that's a 300 grand profit. So that's 2.5 times what we previously had. But otherwise, pretty much the same process. It's just that this one happens to be illegal as far as the various different factions in the game are concerned. But except for, you know, there's a pirate base, and they're not too concerned. So if you want to make a little bit more money, I'd recommend that you only do that out of the way, unless you want the police to try and, well, have some fun, shall we say, with your ships, and probably lose reputation as well. So that's some more trading out of the way. Is my ship nearly constructed? Ew, there's only 6 seconds left. That's pretty good. That's timing for you. I hadn't noticed that whatsoever. Let me turn off trade filters again. And that is JAW621. And let's go to info. What are you? Are you any good? Your piloting is 1.5. So not exactly what I'd like, but let me just go and communicate with them. I don't have any pilot seminars that will actually help, so that's not going to be too terrible, not too good. But just as before, even though this one is double the cost of the others, and I'm also saving double the cost of the others, I can set them to the same training regime in Argon Prime. Now, whilst all that's going on, of course, you're going to be doing lots of other stuff. You can be doing missions, you can be doing station construction, and to get started with our own station, this is our HQ, that is. We should probably just rename that, actually, if we can rename it. Can we rename that yet? Unknown station. Can I rename you? Maybe not yet. Okay. Be nice if I could. Oh well. For the moment, I'm going to leave it. Unless I can rename it here. Oh, there we go. Rename. Usual. So, Grey Home. And then we're just going to do what it tells us in the mission, which is to build a dock area. So if we go to plan build, you'll see there is our gigantic space station. And it's surrounding that giant rock that we saw in the middle last episode. And we're going to need a dock area for this. So we're just going to go with something trivial. I did get a commenter, saying there was a basic version that I didn't need to go and buy the money for. But I went and bought it anyway, so what can you do? Let me just go for a standard one since we've already basically purchased it. And then we can basically position it on, well, any of the sort of outbound docking areas. You see, it only snaps to 2 of them. Okay, and that's only because it isn't rotated. So these things have to be rotated if you want to basically face them the correct direction. If you want them to snap to the other pieces. I'm not too concerned at the moment. I'm perfectly happy for this one to be wherever, but just as a demonstration, I can just rotate it with right-click drag, and then it'll snap to any of the others. Okay, and that's going to be perfectly fine. Near the period dock module in the station, that's fine. We'll go back to build one. We need to give it some money, and we need to assign or hire a builder. So first of all, we need to find a builder on the map. Okay, so construction vessel, you see there's one here. And if you zoom out, because I've got satellites around, I can spot them. If you don't see any on this left-hand side other ships thing here, we are going to want to go and find them. So can I actually just select it from in here? Let me just zoom in. Can I select you? Right click select. Yep, so we've got a builder. That's assigned. And now pretty much we need to give resources to this. Does it say how many? No. Yeah. Will it even let me do this? That's interesting. There we go. So I need to give it some money. Let's just give it, I don't know, 2 million. Confirm. And that should be fine for now, I think. Yeah. We don't need anything else. Nothing I can see. So that should be... Oh, so just start construction. And it'll obviously tell me once it's been done. So for the moment, we'll leave that alone and move on. And then hopefully the dock will take shape over time. And I had it positioned incorrectly, so I just went back in and snapped it to one of these positions just for now, and it goes yellow at the bottom right instead of red, because it went red because it was just in a slightly incorrect position. So confirm that, and that should actually now go ahead and start building. So I just have to leave it pretty much and carry on making money with just little bits of manual stuff until we've got some more trained pilots. So I got myself stuck in the gate geometry over here, the accelerator gate. I got myself jammed in there just by looking at the map while flying. Of course, it was just foolish to do so, but hey, happens occasionally, so I had to reload my save. I don't have that MT000 crafting anymore, unfortunately. I did actually want the 1.5-star pilot, but I'll redo that and see if we get any different stuff. However, I just wanted to show you some things in this Silent Witness 12, just as an example. In here, you can see, if I just zoom out a little bit, if I just hover over these, we can see roughly around right there, in fact, Argon Silicon Refinery. If we zoom all the way in, you'll see it sells silicon wafers, but we're also looking at where we can buy silicon wafers, and you can see that is being sold right next door. Sorry, where they're being bought, I should say. That's being bought right next door. Okay, so they're just right next to each other, and yeah, that's a little bit interesting that no one's actually serving the needs of those two stations that are right next to each other. So again, we'll just quickly check how much money we're going to make with them. I'm not going to bother doing the calculations. I'm just going to basically wing it, and we're just going to basically do that by basically buying stuff from here. So trade with Argon Silicon Refinery. I'm going to buy some silicon wafers, 208,000. And I'm going to sell them right here. So trade with and then sell. See, that's only 8,000 profit. So it's not really worthwhile doing trading with silicon wafers. However, what it might be worth us doing is actually making them. So we have one silicon refinery there, so we could try and compete with it. We don't really have any sort of stations nearby. I guess, do I have a resource probe in... Silent Witness? I thought I placed one. Yes, it says hydrogen, but this purple color indicates that there is both minerals and gas, except that it just says hydrogen. I'm not sure what the range of these are, whether there's a specific range. It doesn't show one on the map. However, what I do know is when I dropped the resource probe in over here, right there, you see it says ore 3.4 per kilometer cubed, cubic kilometers, and silicon the same. And I dropped one in Silent Witness 11 as well, and there is not as much in Silent Witness 11. The other thing I will note is that if you are enemies with the people in here, if we just zoom in, you see all these are friend-foe mines. So you really don't want to get on the bad side of the pirates in here if you're going to do anything with this sector. So I thought what we might do is just set up an initial station, that is, to make silicon wafers if we can, and then basically go from there and see if we can actually sell it. Doesn't much matter where we sell it, because we can obviously send our ships out to sell it from that station. So to get started with that, we're going to have to go back to our friendly representative, Argon Shipyard, and see if we can actually, let's just see, start guidance to object. Do I want to start guidance? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get up.
Discoverer, Vanguard.
And I've got Air Captain.
Hello.
Hi. I'm going to get them to actually fly it so I can be doing other stuff while they fly, and I don't have to worry about it too much. And a commenter did say that apparently that trains your pilot up quite a bit more than normal. Quite a bit more normal speed, that is. But yeah, we'll see whether that's actually the case. I don't want to start guidance. They should be able to fly here. And if I select here, you should be able to fly to. Are you doing anything? You are. Good. So hopefully this captain doesn't get me stuck in the gate geometry. Yes, as I have a tendency to do. Regardless, our funds are coming in quite nicely. We're at 10.8 with another 3 million to spare. So that's 13, 14 million, roughly, thereabouts. And that's a good point. Good point around there to start thinking about either massively expanding your number of traders if you could get auto traders, but we can't, or maybe just setting up a few stations. Stations are not massive money makers in the start of the game, but they are long-term investments and things should build up over time. So just like our player HQ, we may as well go and try and build one, and we'll see how we get on with it. So I've got one system here that has silicon. I may well look for another one that has it rather than out of the way here with the pirate base, but either way, we're going to need silicon for this particular thing. And I did get that suggestion from a commenter. The other thing we could do is an oil refinery. Both of those are quite simple because you're just getting stuff fed in straight by miners, and you have miners, so, you know, it's a nice synergy. And how I managed to do this, I have no idea. By letting someone else fly, this is what happened. You see right down here, we've got our ship, and it seems to be off in the middle of nowhere. That's because it is. It hit that gate in this sector over here, and for some reason, whether it's a mid-gate collision with another ship or not, I don't know. But we are way, way, way outside the original sector. This is the original sector size, this sort of hexagon here. And you can see down here there is a number showing you sort of the size of the interior of this hexagon. Yeah, we've been pushed well outside it. So the ship is now dutifully flying back, but yeah, not terribly. Well, it's flying back quite quickly, but it just isn't going to be there anytime soon. So yeah, I'm stranded, just waiting for my ship to fly back with this wonderful captain that ejects me into the middle of nowhere. Regardless, I think I may end up just flying the ship myself from now on. So after another reload of an autosave, I went back across to the Argon shipyard, and this is where I am right now. You can see I've selected silicon wafer production. Silicon station will also need energy, but you already have that by default. So the energy, where is it? Energy production, energy cell production, you already own that. So you can put both modules on one station and have it produce silicon for you. And that's going to need a few things. One, at the start of the game, we don't have enough reputation to buy these small habitats. Now, if we have any habitats, then cool, we can build them into the station. I think they just improve the efficiency of something, if I remember rightly, so we'll see if they're actually needed once I construct it. It's been a little while since I actually did it. Regardless, if you can't buy it, you can always try and scan for it as well, but we'll come on to workforce a little bit later. One resource that you can go to if you want to actually plan out your stations, by the way, is E04-game.com. It's a little calculator someone's made. Let you assemble things by saying which module do you want to add to your station and then what it needs and what it produces. So in this case, we're going to be needing silicon coming in, and we're going to be producing silicon wafers. So we need at least this one here. Is there anything else I actually want for this? Do I actually... Well, we're going to need a dock, but we already have the dock blueprints. Probably I want to have the connectivity points. Things that you can basically attach all different modules to. And I'm just wondering if we already have them or not. We have some of them. You see there's connection structures here. We may as well just buy them. They're very, very cheap by comparison to what we're making from mining, at least at the moment. So that's fine. Cross connection structure. This defense platform? No, we're going to need some reputation for that, I would imagine. Anything to do with defense, it needs reputation generally. Container storage. We are going to need some kind of container storage. And solid, liquid, and gas. Well, solid, liquid counts for gas. So if we go for small in each of those, so that we have them. So yeah, I'm going to go for solid storage, liquid storage, and container storage. I want all of those. Okay. And then, well, why don't we just get the other connection structures as well? I think that's pretty much it for the connection structures. Yes. I can't really see anything else I want right now. So let's just confirm that. That's 2.3 million gone down the drain. Well, not down the drain, but we could have scanned for it, but it just takes longer to scan for it, and we can make that money back so much faster by doing other things. Shift D to get back to the ship. There we go. And you are not going to be flying anything. If anything, I may well transfer this captain across to our player HQ and have them act as the manager of that station. Because the mission, it shows over here, has this exclamation mark saying you need a manager for the station. You don't really need a manager unless you're actually using the HQ for something. Now, we could convert that HQ into a silicon refinery. There is silicon nearby, but what I think I want to do is, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that station yet, so we're going to build essentially a new station. There is silicon right here in Argon Prime, so it is a decent location. 26 per kilometer per cubic kilometer over there, and 1.2 over here. Well, maybe we want it right here, and then we can ship it elsewhere across, across the system. So I'm just going to say, well, we're going to start guidance to the position. I don't actually need to be there. I think we can just create a plot into a random. Once I deselect my deselect my ship, I should be able to create a plot or manage plots in one of these. Manage plots. There it is. So I want it roughly around about here. That seems to be a decent thing to go for. What size? The larger you make it, the more expensive it actually is. So if we just put it here, can I just rotate? Yeah, that seems to be a reasonable location. You can see the rest of the asteroid belt heading off that way. And we have room to expand. We can buy a license, which we're going to need, otherwise it's counted as illegal. And then we can press continue, and then we then have, just as we did for our player HQ, a box that we can put stuff in and hopefully make pretty much everything. So from that, we're going to need to, well, why don't we just start with the dock, because hey, we may as well. So let's just put it out here somewhere. Cool. And then from the dock, we're then going to want to connect probably just some storage. I would imagine it's going to be, is it going to be container and solid maybe? Let me just spin that around a little bit. Yep, there it is. Let's just go for container to start off with. I can never remember if it actually needs solid or anything like that. Does it actually say on this calculator? Let me just double check. It does not tell me what kind of storage it needs. That would be handy if it did. Regardless, we'll leave it like that for now. And then, ooh, there is a vertical storage as well. That's kind of nice. I'm not sure if I've used those before. Okay. So on to other modules it is, and then we can think about connecting things together. So we can create a cross piece, or we can just attach directly to this. Production modules is where we get energy cells from. So if we just create a small cross, okay, like that. Okay, and then we can just see if we can connect some production modules to either side. So can I, is there room? No, it looks like I'm going to need more room than that. Okay, so let me just move this out of the way. Can I just get rid of you? Yeah. Okay, I'm just connecting this with a longer piece. There we go. And now I should be able to connect either side with production modules. So energy cells on one side. Assuming I can connect this thing. You see, my station isn't... it's a little bit too small for this. So let's just rotate it around. Will you fit in this? No, you need to be a little bit larger. Okay, that's fine. Let's just leave that alone for now. Silicon wafers is also quite large. Okay, fine. I'm going to cancel the module changes. Discard, yes. I'm going to change the size of this plot. So, unknown station, plot 2. Whoops, no, that's that one. This one. I want it to be then... it doesn't say which direction each of these is in. Let's just change this to 3 and 3, which basically obviously increases it by 2 because it's being made wider. And buy the license to make it legal, and then press continue. Then I can reset everything back up. I'll do the rest of that off camera because you can see what I'm going to do. And here we go. It's a little lopsided, but it's got container storage right next to the dock. It's got a couple of modules. Basically, energy cell can only snap to either side like this, so you have to snap one end to a station point. And I've got the 4-way station points here, and then the silicon wafer production can only snap to the top of something, so you need to have a vertical extension like that. And I've got one like connection structure, and then one of the cross connection structures just like the bottom here. So we can expand this in future if we want to, but for now it has the basics. It says estimated price for this is 1.6 million, so let me just give it 1.9, and then we're just going to basically need to assign a builder. So assign a hire a builder, zoom out, let's take you, doesn't really matter which one we go for, that will do, and confirm module changes, yes. Okay, so that is our first independent station, and it should actually be constructed. It will take them quite a while to be constructed, so don't just sit there and watch them, even though you might like to. Instead, we're going to basically be doing other things. Once they're constructed, we'll then worry about assigning miners to them, and lots of, bits and pieces. But according to the calculator, without workforce, the profit should be 882,000 per hour that it actually runs. So you can see it's not a great deal by comparison to the miners, but it is completely passive. It'll just continue coming in the background once we've got everything set up anyway. So that's a early silicon station. You can apply the same principle to do ore refining and various other longer chains, including all the way up to building your own ships from nothing but ore and silicon and ice and hydrogen or whatever else you actually want to input them. But that does take a lot of infrastructure and a huge amount of money to make those stations. So for the time being, it is all about making more money. And you can see even with that new station that I've just commissioned and dumping a whole bunch in, I've still got a fair amount of actually change just around there. And I've got a satellite monitoring the shipyard. I've got a resource probe that tells me how much stuff is around here. So yeah, everything's going to be perfectly fine. And I've got a resource probe over here telling me what this belt contains. So we should be okay for equipping this thing with miners once it completes. And that's probably a good point to end the episode on. So we've got 2 stations under construction now. Got a player HQ, which is, let's just go and take a look. Let me just mark that as start guidance to object, because I may well just dump this pilot on that station. Just to get rid of that little exclamation mark, because I've been nagging me. Let's take a look at plan build. Is it actually started construction? It has. It's 14% of the way through making that dock. So, yeah, presumably the builder is on site somewhere, so that's good. And then we have, of course, this second station. We have our little tiny fleet to get started, but we will get more of those on the go. Now, we've got some trading going on of various dodgy goods, but mostly just honest labour with mining and trading as before. If you've got any suggestions after seeing this episode, if you want to see any more playthrough of X3, I could probably start a new game of that and show you the equivalent in that kind of area. What I will say is that if you haven't built stations in X3, it is... what's the right word? It's a little flaky. Well, no, not flaky. That's the wrong word. It's obtuse. It's hard to figure out without actually having someone show you it. Mainly, all the station stuff is aligned with the numpad on your keyboard, so that's one thing you'll need. But unless you remap it, of course. But also the linking the bits and pieces together. Where in X4 you have these nice snap to things that you can hold. Right click and rotate, and shift right click and rotate will snap to certain angles, which is very, very nice for constructing things nicely. You don't necessarily have that in X3. You have these sort of connecting structures which you have to put down as well, that if you're not careful about where you put them can create this sort of spaghetti nest of pipes basically connecting different modules. It's nowhere near as intuitive as X4. So that is one thing about it. But once you know how to do it, you know how to do it. That's no big deal. For simple stations, it doesn't matter. That's only for like station complexes in X3. Simple stations, you just dump it down and the ship comes in and drops it off for you. So yeah, that's simpler. So yeah. Anyway, if you've got any suggestions, put them down in the comments below. Anything I've got wrong, do correct me down there as well. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed the episode, click on the like button. Press the subscribe if you're not already, and you click on the bell for notifications for more stuff, and we will see you next time for some more X4. As always, guys, thanks for watching.